Hey, you. Subscribe. You're watching Radio Free Cybertron. Hosted by Brian Kilby with JD Church, John DeLuna, XV, Amy Morgan, and Rob Clay. For the latest Transformer news, reviews, and more, visit tformers.com.
This is Radio Free Cybertron episode 343, recorded Christmas Day, 2013. That's how much I care. I'm recording this on Christmas Day. Actually, it's not a big deal. All of my family and Christmas festivities are over. I'm really kind of just looking for something to do. So I'm like, let's put the show together. But I am alone right now. Everybody else, I think, is involved with their family gatherings and events and festivities and such. But I'm plugging away here just for you, our listeners. So if you haven't already, please leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher or your podcast app of choice. That would be so awesome. Tiny fraction of our fans have done that, and thank you so much if you have. We really appreciate it, but I know the vast odds are that you, yes you, the person hearing me right now, has not done this. Take 2 minutes. Leave us a review. It would mean so much to us. It makes finding the podcast so much easier for new listeners, and it's really, I mean, I'm totally honest, it's the quickest, easiest, most pain-free way of helping us out. You listen to us each week. We love doing it, but we want to reach a wider audience. So if you could, please leave us a review. That would be so awesome. I actually also had a request. I actually get asked this a lot, but specifically, I'd had a tweet a couple weeks ago about wanting to know all the stuff that I have behind me. If you're watching the video, you can see toys. So I actually did one better. If you go to tfradio.tumblr.com, that's tfradio.tumblr.com, you can see some photos that I have taken. I took them today of not only the toys behind me, but all around the studio here. I have toys right here. You can't see, but I'm pointing at them. Right here, all over the place. So tfradio.tumblr.com. We have those there. Like I said, right now it's just me doing the show, but next week we are going to have a huge show. It's going to be our 2013 recap. I've already been working on it. I've spent hours putting it together already. There's so much stuff that happened in 2013. It's really hard to believe all of the things that happened. And yeah, man, I don't know that we're going to be able to fit it all into one show, but I'm certainly going to try my best. So check that out next week. On the show this week, we have This Week in History. Yeah, we actually have one this week. We have the news. We have the newest Transformers Rewind, which is Auto Berserk. And we have a few rare gems from RFC's past. Stuff that I thought would, be fitting to air in this special broadcast. We have a couple items from 2010 and one from 2011, which you've probably not heard. And it's just fun stuff, and I picked these out specifically today, and I really think that you'll enjoy them. But let's jump to This Week in History. 29 years ago this week, 1984, Fire on the Mountain premieres in the U.S. I keep getting surprised that it was 29 years ago, but man, 29 years ago. Just gets farther and farther away. 28 years ago, 1985, War Dawn debuted in the U.S. I was a kid, so I totally get the fact that that was a while ago, but the next one just doesn't seem like it was 10 years ago. But 10 years ago, this week, in 2003, Superlink debuts in Japan. And, of course, abroad, that's known as Energon. But in 2003, Superlink debuts. Wow. Getting so old, it's sad. Let's go ahead and jump to the news. I am joined by Diecast and Don. Gentlemen,
Yes.
How was your Christmas?
It's over. That's a positive for me.
That's good.
Sorry, just
Mine was pretty good. I got an Xbox One. I got tons of gift cards. I got my brother-in-law decided it would be a good idea to get me the Lego Death Star.
Your brother-in-law bought you that?
Over 10,000 pieces.
It's
so.
like $400. Your brother-in-law loves you way more than mine does.
It was a combined gift for me and my stepson.
Okay, wow.
So,
is it the original Death Star that's completely round, or is it the second Death Star that has it's like half done, and the other half of the Death Star you see the inside of the figure?
Yeah, it's the second one. It's the one you can still buy in stores.
Okay, because if it was the first one, that thing goes for over $1,000.
That's insane.
Oh wow!
Well,
I know someone who has that too, and it's so flimsy.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it.
That and the Super Star Destroyer are two of the most expensive pieces.
That's insane. So if you're watching video, you'll notice that Diecast and Don are actually on the same screen. It's because we have to do this via Google Plus. Not that it really matters to you, but I'm anal. So I just had to point that out. Skype was giving us a problem. I guess, I don't know, people are calling each other on Skype, giving warm Christmas wishes today. And nobody's doing that on Google+. Thank goodness. Let's go ahead and jump into the news, though. So Botcon 2014 is definitely coming to Pasadena, California, June 19th through June 22nd. I thought this was already confirmed. Is it not? Was it not prior?
No, they never officially announced it. Everyone knew.
Well, I will say that I did know at Botcon from a very reliable source. I was just asked not to say anything, but I knew before I left Botcon it was going to be in Pasadena again, and I knew within a plus or minus a week the time. So, yeah.
Well, I was already planning on not being there.
If I could have said something, I would, but I promised I wouldn't. So
I was already not planning on being there, so this just confirms it. But yeah, I was already certain.
I think. Yeah, well, movie year. Being a new movie year. But I did put on Twitter that I know they have a lot of logistics to juggle, but they really need to look at coming back to the East Coast just to balance it out.
Yeah,
they really do.
Yeah,
that's what I tweeted. I said, once I heard it was in Pasadena again. So this is 2 years. It's been at the same location.
3.
3 years.
Yeah, well, count in 2004 for the last Botcon. It depends on if you count that or not.
No, I'm saying 2 consecutive years at, as far West Coast as you can go.
Oh, yeah, and not hit water, yeah.
So, I mean, I said in 2015 they need to, bring it at least a little bit closer to the East Coast, if not on the East Coast.
Yeah, I love Rhode Island. I thought Rhode Island was a great location for Botcon. I know that may not be the most popular decision ever, but I thought Rhode Island was great.
Well, it's good for a lot of our Canadian collectors and friends and stuff. It's just Fort Wayne will never be a location again, but somewhere, because it's just too small for the number of people that we're bringing in now.
My only problem with Rhode Island, and it had nothing to do with the location. I just spent most of that Botcon babysitting our friend Gabe, who hosted the Outside the Cage podcast. He just spent most of that Botcon drunk. So I love you, Gabe, but yeah, you're a mean drunk, dude. Mean drunk.
Now, how many people does Botcon bring in, would you say?
Well, I never
30 or 40
actually...
people.
I never heard any numbers from last year, and Brian Savage does not usually like to talk numbers until he gets all the final counts and stuff. I think last year unofficially was almost 3,000 people, counting the walk-ins on Saturday.
Is that it? I figured it would be more than that.
I heard 3,000 to 4,000, but again, that's extremely unofficial. So I have not heard. I've not heard or seen Brian saying we had X number of people.
I just assumed that it was more people than that, because that's not much more than like a small convention. Not that Botcon's a huge convention, but considering this scale of the displays and the booths and the panels, I just figured it was more than that.
Well, it also could be the numbers were a little low if they were close to being accurate, with San Diego being 2 weeks later.
True that.
So that could have skewed so people that would have gone to Botcon would have chose to go to San Diego instead, which, again, the only issue I have with that is you're at the Transformers convention, release your Transformers news there.
Yeah, absolutely.
San Diego, you got tons of stuff that you can release at San Diego. Give the Botcon people the Transformers stuff.
Yeah. So basically, what we already knew has been confirmed. Let's go ahead and jump to the next item. So we have official images now of Generations. Well, we had images, but more images of Generations Cosmos and Payload. And I want this toy. God, I want this toy. Here's I have a couple problems with it. It doesn't look dramatically different than the Legends, or the whatever scale Cosmos that we got.
It was still Legends
4 or 5 years ago. It doesn't look a lot different than that, and it doesn't look dramatically different than UFO. But it looks more like the previous Cosmos we got. But that's okay, cause it's Cosmos, and he's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, and I missed the Cosmos from 4 years ago. I don't even remember seeing that one. I don't know how.
That whole wave was just a complete mess trying to find it. Because I found the whole wave one time, and it took me forever I opened up the only warpath I found. It took me 2 years to find another warpath for a carded representation. I managed to get them all. I don't know how, but I did, and I'm very pleased by that. The only way this figure could be any more awesome is if it had a voice chip with Michael McConaughey doing Cosmos quotes. That's the only way this thing could be. I mean, more wanted. It looks great. And what I really like is the molded fists. How the fist is molded into the front of the, where the fist would be on the arm. But that's just a nice looking look. It's like the vent makes the fist. Yeah. And that looks really sweet. Plus, it's a good homage to the original figure that had it's sculpted on the inside of the side panel. Yeah, and I've mentioned this before, but Cosmos was my first Transformer. I still have that one to this day. I love Cosmos, and I'm just excited, really excited to see this. The Minicon, it's a Minicon.
Yeah. I mean, at this price point, can you really complain that much?
Oh no! It's just, I think it makes a better blaster than it does a robot.
Yes, it does. Here's another shot of Cosmos. If you're watching the video, we saw it in blaster mode a minute ago. Here he is in robot mode, Payload. I've seen worse Minicons.
Oh yeah.
He's got a very nice molded and painted head. Especially for the size, they did a good job with the paint job. It's really basic, but I am A-okay with that. Yeah, I definitely will be probably buying two just to have one carded. Yeah. Yeah, I probably will have to do the same. We also got images of Swerve and Flanker. Swerve looks great. He looks so much better than the Iger Veer. And when I say so much better, I mean so much better and so much cheaper, too.
Now, is this the one that they're doing the third-party My First Blaster for, or is that one of the other Swerves that are out there?
There's Shapeways My First Blaster, I think, that you can get if you have a 3D printer, or you can have it printed, I think. I believe so. But I think you've been able to get that one for a while, I thought, if I'm not mistaken. Because we reported on that months ago. Here he is in robot mode.
The only, I've been reading the comics that come with the Generations figures, and that's all the IDW I've read of the Regeneration. But I love the way the card art. The card art for Swerve looks really great.
This is just a fantastic looking toy. I remember JD was all pissed off when he ended up getting Veer, and I did too, because I'm pretty much a completist with the iGear Mini Warriors. But oh my god, the vehicle mode looks awesome. Looks really, really, really nice. I can't wait to get this. Now, are they the same wave? Yes, they are. Okay, so they're not doing like one bot, one con. No. What other Legends figures are we getting? Are we getting a con? Decepticon? The one with Shrapnel, that Sharp Shot. Who was that?
Yeah. And then there's probably going to be another con to pack in with that.
That's right. Yeah, we are.
The Shrapnel with the reflector.
Yes. And that's a nice looking figure too. Well, I think Diecast pointed out when we looked at it, it was terribly mistransformed in that picture we had to go by. The legs were all screwy. So, Don, I remember you were really excited at one point about Transformers Go, but you've kind of cooled off, haven't you? Yeah, it's... The Brave Lover in me really likes the big wonky aesthetics and the colors, but the combination, at least for the Samurai team, really left me not wanting to pursue this line, at least not at full retail. Here's the Transformers Go Black Hunter Optimus Prime, Nemesis Prime figure. Yeah.
It's what you would expect a Nemesis Prime to be.
Yeah.
Just... if I was going to have another Prime, I think I'd rather have the Leo Prime that they used the Thundertron mold for, as far as, something Prime but different. I mean, it looks good. You got the teal, you got the red, but that mold is just... It's not my favorite Prime.
Yeah.
What do you want?
And let's see here. I'm going to skip ahead for a second in the show notes, guys. We have images of the G26 Optimus Prime triple changer in train and dragon modes, and I really don't like the look of this. It looks really chintzy, honestly. Like it looks pretty craptastic.
I thought the original Go Combiner was the same thing. I mean, yeah.
I want to like it just because it's a Prime that's not a truck.
Oh yeah.
But it's those arms with all that kibble on the arms, and I don't know. It's just. I don't know. It's not.
It also kind of looks cheap. I mean, the kibble showing. You can see like all. I mean, it looks like they've did a rush job on it.
Yeah, and
like a total
the
rush
dragon.
job.
Yeah, and the train. I mean, if it was train and robot, that'd be fine. But that is a dragon, and it doesn't look
like a dragon.
It looks like a giant crab. Or something out of a 70s sci-fi movie coming out of the water to attack the kids at summer camp.
Yeah, and here it is in combined mode combined with whatever, and this is definitely something that I never want to see here.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't come here.
It's one of those things. Once the video reviews get out and we can see how much you can fiddle with it to improve the robot mode, that may be, a helpful point. But just looking at this picture of this robot mode with all the arm kibble, it's just not doing anything for me.
And the likelihood that we get this is very low. I mean, very low. And it doesn't look like it would survive a drop test, so I'm not worried about getting it here. And I'm definitely not worried about not buying it.
And I just don't want to have to fiddle with my Transformers to make them look proper, or buy add-on kits, TFC, I'm talking to you, to make my figure look proper. Just give me the good figure up front and no issues.
Yeah. Not too pleased with this. What I am pleased with, though, which I think is probably the news item of the week. Year of the Horse Optimus Prime is coming to the Toys R Us.
Yeah.
That was...
What did you get this week, Diecast, by the way?
I just happened to get the Year of the Horse Optimus Prime in the mail today. The day after I got it in the mail is when the news story came out that it was being released in the U.S. And I just go, I only spent $175 on it, so it's not that horrible.
I almost dropped $250 on
Yeah, it's amazing how it's paralleling your experience, Brian.
I didn't. But I would have if it's sold out like right before the Hasbro panel at 2012 at Botcon 2012, and I couldn't find it. And we got into there, and they announced that it was going to be a Toys R Us exclusive, and I was like, "Oh, thank God!"
And JD's been hating it ever since he could talk you into it.
I know
beforehand.
I mean, I didn't have any clue that this would be a U.S. release.
I'm surprised. I didn't expect it to be. Now that you have it, do you like it?
I honestly haven't taken it out of the box yet, but the coloring on it isn't as good as the photos that we saw.
It's packaged in robot mode, right?
Yeah. Here, I actually inhabit an arm's length, so...
He looks really badass.
He is. And the box is huge.
God, that is awesome looking.
I love it. Can I have the box?
It just flips open.
Oh, we just lost your camera.
That's because you're talking, Don.
So yeah, he's pretty big, and
I'm
the
sorry,
box
Don.
is huge.
God, that is nice looking.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to keep it in the box. It looks so nice.
You've got MP10 already. You don't need to transform it.
Exactly. So
that looks amazing in the box. You may talk now, Don. I'm sorry. That's the reason I mentioned Google Plus is because whoever's ever speaking takes precedence over whoever's not. That's what it does. I like Skype better, FYI. Yeah.
But I will say it does look better in person, Diecast, than the earlier pictures. I'm still not sold on it, but it does look a lot better than I originally gave it credit for.
The earlier pictures, it almost looks like someone took the original MP10 and just put gold on it wherever the silver was.
Yeah, it's like a bad Photoshop or something.
Yeah, now the blues are much darker, the reds are much darker, so it gives it... He looks mean. He really does. So he's almost like an evil Optimus Prime. Not a nemesis, but an evil.
Yeah, a really badass Optimus Prime. A face-taking Optimus Prime. Yeah.
Well, this is Optimus's mode before he became movie version.
Yes. It's movie version, face-taking Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime. So, up next in the news, Creo, Microchange, Wave 4, package codes. I'm not going to read through them, but this is the wave that includes Alpha Trion, Cup, Rhinox, Rodimus, Sandstorm, and Slipstream. So, yay, you should be finding those soon. Bookmark this, print this off, keep track of it, because whenever I want the codes, my phone is invariably dead. So, yeah.
Well, on a slightly related note, I stopped by Walgreens today, and they had the initial wave of Creons was the one that had Galvatron, right?
Yes.
I've actually found some of that initial wave at a Walgreens.
Yeah, Ollie's had those. If Ollie's had in Wave 2, which is what I'm missing most of, I would be ecstatic. I got RC and I got Perceptor or whatever else is in that wave that I wanted. But, yeah, I didn't get a chance to complete Wave 2. I have the preview wave, Waves 1 and 3, but not Wave 2. Bummer. Let's see here. Let's jump to third-party news. So we have photos of Unique Toys Mania King test shot. We have it in robot and alt mode. I'm still not feeling it, but I'm feeling it, I think, a little more than I was.
Yeah, I was waiting for something that wasn't just gray resin plastic. I like it a lot more. Again, a lot more than I did, but I don't know if I want to make this my Galvatron or not.
Yeah. I don't think, like I said, I think this is more Hegemon, less Hexatron and Quake Wave. I think Hexatron and Quake Wave, as far as the scale figure of these, are a little better than this and Hegemon, but still not terrible.
Yeah, the image of the set with him pointing the camera at the gun, that's a great looking shot for that figure. It's just I'd rather see it all colored, but that almost makes me want to go. Just can't quite.
It's not quite there. I don't like the cannon mode though. It looks clunky. It's just something is just not clicking with it. Maybe painted, but just as it is right now, it just looks off.
Well, maybe it could be for that character with what they've got to work with. That was the best they can do.
A compromise
with the design tolerances. But I do like the way that fourth picture. I like the way how the hands collapse and the forearm comes down, so they're not just kind of, floating off to the side. They're actually kind of taking into account. But yeah, it's not quite there.
It's not. Right, it's not perfect, but maybe eventually we'll actually get a Masterpiece Galvatron, which will solve all our problems. Let's see here. What else do we have in the third-party news? TFC Toys, not Defense Or gets a name. It's Prometheus,
which I hope is better than the movie.
Yeah. I haven't seen Prometheus. I don't plan on it. So
I've seen enough of it to not want to ever see it again.
Yeah, I'm not going to. Let's see here. What else do we have? One more item. KFC Toys announces Justice, Bad Bat, Flat Trap, and the cassette Beast Cage, which is their not Shattered Glass, Rat Bat, Wingthing, God, and which is also a cage that that Town used to trap Ravage. Wingthing is pretty great. I don't really care about the Shattered Glass Rat Bat, but...
Did I miss it? Are they doing this in regular Rat Bat colors, or because that's what we want?
Mugen Vox.
Oh, so we have to get their crappy sound lead to
yes.
get the...
Yes, sir. That's it.
And one other thing they've announced, Brian, I haven't had a chance to find the picture yet. They are doing, if you remember the early days of Transformers, there were the Japanese cassettes that combined that were the Dino cassettes.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm not going to try to pronounce the names because I always screw them up. But they are doing their version of the Dino cassettes, and they do combine.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we'll finally be able to get a representation of those characters without paying $1,000 a tape.
Yeah.
They are very expensive.
Yeah. That's true.
I saw a loose set with no weapons sell for $500.
Jeez. Yeah, that's too rich for my blood. Okay, that pretty much wraps up the news. Anything else, guys?
Everyone, keep your eyes on your sale papers for the big after Christmas clearances. There's no telling what's going to show up in the next week or so.
Yeah. Hopefully something good. And I'm certain all the online retailers probably have some stock of things they want to get rid of after the holidays. So check that out as well.
Especially our sponsors y'all sponsors at T-Formers.
Yes. Okay, guys. Thank you very much.
Not a problem, Brian. Merry Christmas.
Radio Free Cybertron.
Transformers.
Rewind.
This week on Transformers Rewind, it's Auto Berserk from Generation 1.
I know exactly how you feel. Megatron and the other Decepticons envy my superiority too.
That's why Megatron left you behind?
Yes, he's afraid I'd make a better leader.
Maybe that's why the Autobots were jealous of me.
If we had control of the Negavator, Optimus and Megatron would be forced to admit our superiority.
That would show Inferno and the others I'm just as good as they are.
Better!
I would be in charge. Me!
Of course, Red, you would be supreme!
So I love at the beginning of the episode how Optimus Prime is the one doing the countdown. Because you don't first see that as Optimus Prime. I'm like, oh, is Peter Cullen doing a human voice here? Then, oh, wait, it's actually Optimus Prime. Because there are humans there, too, like observing the Negavator, which is, like, hard to say. It's like...
How do you pick that name for this project? Seriously.
It's even harder to really explain what it actually does.
It, like,
because
blinks stuff out of reality.
Sort of changes. Yeah, except that it doesn't later, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
It also blows up at the end.
Explodes. Yeah.
This episode, I like this episode. For various reasons. One, it's like the Red Alert episode, and Red Alert doesn't get a lot of love. It's also kind of like the city on the edge of forever, so to speak. Where in the Star Trek episode, Bones is running around all crazy, and this one, Red Alert's running around all crazy.
I was waiting for how you were going to pull that back because I had no idea where you were going.
Well, I mean, but he means well, but he's crazy as can be. Because I was watching, and I'm like, he reminds me of something from somewhere. And I'm like, what does he remind me of? Then I thought, oh, it's Dr. McCoy from Star Trek. And like, oh, yep, that's it. Except, of course, Bones didn't team up with Starscream in that episode. He should have.
No.
That would have been great.
Somebody's writing that crossover now, I guarantee it.
I've probably already written it. But like any other G1, in any other G1 episode, they just pull stuff out, of their pants that I don't necessarily get. Like when they get trapped behind the rubble. I forgot who it was. I think it was either Soundwave or one of the jets was attacking them, and Optimus Prime screams, "Stop! The heat will cook our databanks." Like, what? What's a databank?
Yeah, back.
And why will heat do anything? Like, what? What in the world?
There's something will compute our word, our robot bit.
I mean, that stuff happens all
Yeah,
the time.
totally.
But basically, so Red Alert gets damaged, and he goes kind of crazy. He becomes all paranoid and schizo. And
Goes crazy.
Well, he wasn't exactly top quality thinking before this,
Well,
Yeah.
No, see, that's the thing. Like, this is a pretty good episode. This is probably one of the better season 2 episodes.
And it's a good looking episode too. First I watched it, I'm like, this doesn't look that great. Then I thought, wait, no. It's like, no, it's a Toei episode, which most of them are Toei episodes, but it looks good. I mean, it starts off a little rough, but
it does.
But it gets a lot better. It looks really good.
There's a very low ratio of visible errors in this one.
Yeah.
There are still errors in it, but the animation is good, and there's some, but there's not many huge, big honking errors. Like that really obvious one where Red's mouth keeps moving at the very end.
Oh God, yeah. Watch it. I actually watched that.
Because I don't have sire note. Yeah.
Yeah, but I love that because Inferno's holding him and he's looking at him lovingly. And he's just, I don't, in my mind, Red Alert is just mouthing something to him just outside of our perception.
Sweet nothings.
Yeah.
Maybe it was censored for airing.
It's entirely possible.
I'll never let you go.
This one though is totally worth people's perception. Red. People think this is Red normally. This is how how people think of Red.
No.
It's like,
this episode is really the only reason most people remember Red Alert.
Exactly.
At all. Yeah, totally. But he is, out of his tree in it, and people just sort of think of that as Red's normal position. He's super paranoid, crazy, deluded.
No, he's just mildly paranoid and crazy and deluded.
Yeah, just mild.
And then he got an electric shock, and it got even worse.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's not like people think of him as that being his deep. It's the same way everybody thinks Cliffjumper hates traitors. When that was like time. Cliffjumper and Mirage. I was talking about I was talking about Dreamwave's second miniseries over on the Underbase this week, and there's a whole thing in there where Cliffjumper's like, "Oh, Mirage, you traitor," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, that was one time. It's not your, but Dreamwave."
Well, they watched half the episodes once.
Yeah.
They didn't have a wiki, back then to steal from. Pretty much.
It wasn't the wiki. That's how they were able to. They looked clever by knowing stuff that wasn't massively cataloged. You got to put something from Japan in something now if you want to look clever.
God.
So, in this episode, Starscream is Red Alert is leading Starscream through like the booby traps and everything that they've set up to get back to the Negavator. So there's the tunnel drone, which is like this evil, crunching, munching, robotic Cthulhu thing. It's like pure evil. And
who built that, and why did they build that?
If that thing gets out, it will kill every person on Earth. What kind of loving, friendly Autobot would create that?
And I'm thinking, this looks way better than the Negavator. Why don't they should be selling this thing.
Weaponize that.
That's you just got that guarding the tunnels that hardly anybody goes into. Heck, man, get that tunnel drone out there. The military would love that.
Well, it's the thing about hand-drawn animation. You can do whatever, and it takes no more effort to do that than anything else. So let's just, I can just throw something in there. And I'm drawing it, and they could put freaking Unicron in there for all it really mattered. But yeah, that thing is just like vicious looking.
Yeah.
Megatron should be going after that.
But even the way they describe it in the episode, it's not just the way that it's drawn. I mean, Red Alert talks about it like it's this indestructible mass of death that just, barrels down these corridors, killing random farm animals or things that wander into the tunnels. What?
Yeah, that's a very Autobot setup for them too.
Yeah,
and this is just under a human city, isn't it?
It's a base. It's like a military base.
Where is it though? We don't really see, do we?
It doesn't say. Yeah, I don't think so.
It's a weird one. I mean, it's an odd one, and it's like the Autobots. Well, it's not super odd, because we've seen the Autobots, or will see the Autobots, working with humans to build assorted things in other episodes. I can really only think of the Ultra Plane from Desertion of the Dinobots off the top of my head, but there's just there's a lot of interesting stuff in this one. It's quite a tight script. There's no major suspensions of disbelief beyond the core concept. It makes good use of the characters that are in it. Grapple's in there complaining about his bunker getting wrecked, and Frenzy gets a really good show in this one too, and is one of his 3 appearances, takes on Optimus Prime directly. And so it's just a good little Soundwave one where he pumps out, I think this is like the most number of tapes he ever pumps out at once in the cartoon.
It's like 4.
This is all he had at the cartoon at this point. This was only season 2.
He didn't use Buzzsaw, did he?
Well, no, he says Buzzsaw's name, but the animation shows Laserbeak, so whichever way you slice it, one of the tapes is missing. One of the bird tapes is missing.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, I mean, it's always fun when I watch an episode with both Rumble and Frenzy, because I was watching with a friend and I got to explain the whole controversy.
The color thing?
Yeah. I described it. I described it as back in the day before we realized that yes could be an answer. So it's like the question is Rumble red or is Rumble blue, and the answer is yes. And now we can say that and move on because it took like 2 decades of us fighting over that to finally go, oh, it doesn't matter.
You say that, but look at IDW, who still can't seem to decide.
Yeah, well. Yeah, I don't care about that.
So
they don't have to be the Phantom.
So toward the end of the episode, Red Alert, was it the Null Ray? So
that's Starscream's weapon, right?
Yeah.
Finally, Starscream's weapon not only does what it's supposed to do.
A vanishingly rare instance.
Yeah.
But so basically, he gets shot by the Null Ray, and the effects of the circuit overload wears off momentarily, and he has this moment of clarity. But Optimus Prime isn't quite sure. So Red Alert is in the Negavator, and he's basically barreling down toward the Autobots. And Optimus is like, I think it's going to be okay. I think the null ray stopped it. He's like a heartbeat away from being nothing.
Now, about this Negavator thing. So at the beginning of the episode, we see the Negavator doing what it does in terms of like text, in terms of it makes stuff vanish, or vanish out of existence. And then later it just sort of becomes a gun, like a generic gun. Like I don't, the Negavator aspect,
that's how they roll.
The Negavator aspect of the Negavator sort of leaves. Of which, the other thing I'm concerned about is like, okay, wait a minute. These are the like peace-loving Autobots, and they're about to hand a weapon that vaporizes stuff to the humans. What?
I don't know. It's so stupid.
Like, are these the good guys? I don't. Why?
So basically, the Negavator is set to self-destruct, and Megatron's like, "Hey, attack!" And the Decepticons are like, "Screw this, we're getting out because that thing's going to blow."
Even Starscream's like, no.
So apparently the explosion's going to be so deadly or whatever that the Decepticons leave. Then it blows up, and with the Autobots there, and they're knocked down. So I guess there's no idea of what the impact of that was going to be, but if I were Decepticon and I knew what stuff blowing up tends to do, like the level of explosive impact, I would just wait around, maybe step a few feet out of the blast radius, and then I would take that time to attack the Autobots. I don't know. I guess they're gun shy or something.
Next time, Gadget.
Maybe their brains got scrambled too.
It's possible. Then Red Alert's fixed, apparently.
Frank Welker was very busy in this episode. It was basically just him and Chris Latta.
What?
I said Frank Welker was very busy in this episode. There's a lot of Megatron, Soundwave, Frenzy, Rumble, Ravage. Early in this episode, it was like all Frank Welker.
How many did he get paid for?
Well, 3. That tends to be the standard.
Yeah, 3.
You're on there to do 3, and then if you do like a certain number beyond that, you get paid more. But then you have to remember, Frank, aside from John Stevenson as Thundercracker, Frank Welker and Chris Latta were all of the 1984 Decepticons.
Right. Yep.
So yeah, busy.
Yep.
But then Michael Chain is Red, so it's really his episode.
Yeah. Between him and Chris, I guess.
There's nothing like a buddy episode with Starscream as the buddy.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good Starscream episode, too, because it's like a competent Starscream episode.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually using his brain. It's like, hey, I'm your friend.
And you can't count too many of those, can you?
No.
And it's one of the few times there's actually a bit of plausible deniability in the sense of him saying, no, my plan was to bring it back to you, Megatron. And you kind of wonder if maybe that, wasn't his plan to bring it back. You could make the argument either way, but there's enough plausible deniability to make it where it wasn't like an overt plan against Megatron.
Yeah, Megatron's not necessarily a complete dummy for for taking him at his word in that instance.
Radio Free Cybertron is teamed up with Kokomo Toys and Collectibles in Kokomo, Indiana. If you're in the Kokomo area, visit our store for a huge selection of new and classic toys. Visit online at www.kokomotoys.com for our address and store hours. While you're there, check out our listing of pre-order items, as well as visit our eBay store. Visit us at www.kokomotoys.com. That's KOKOMOTOYS.com. We're also on Facebook. You can hear our show on Stitcher Smart Radio. Stitcher allows you to listen to your favorite shows directly from your iPhone, Android phone, BlackBerry, or Palm phones. On demand and on the go. Don't have Stitcher? Download it for free today at Stitcher.com or in the app stores. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
So we are going to jump to the first of the rare gem. I don't even know what rare gem means when it's not actually talking about a rare gem, but I hear people say it all the time, so that's what I'm using. This rare gem from 2010. It's about 10 minutes long, and it's a discussion between Rob Springer and me in respect to some awkward fan experiences, interacting with other fans. You know, some of us have lots of friends around, like in the real world, that we interact with who are fans. Others not so much, and sometimes meeting fans in person isn't always the most natural, most normal, most least weird thing. And really it's kind of crazy, but Rob and I we share some of our fond memories from that. So let's go ahead and jump back to 2010, December 2010, for this rare gem. Every week when we come up with a topic, because we don't pre-plan, we always come up with something we want to talk about, but doesn't necessarily feel like a whole segment. So Rob came up with one I think is brilliant. It makes me feel awful for going with it, but I'm going to do it. Just like a quick go around the table of our most awkward fan experiences, and I've got a couple I think I'm going to share. So Rob, you probably have the most to share. So
maybe.
Yeah. What are some of the more awkward fan experiences you've had?
Well, one that sticks in my head is this dude I ran into for like the entire year of 2003, who had a really terrible Autobot. No, I don't remember you. He had like this really bad Autobot symbol tattoo. I mean, bad. It looked like a 5-year-old going to sleep drinking. It was terrible. And he'd be like run into me at like Blockbuster, and he was like rambling off to his friend. I know everything about Transformers. And of course, I'm like wearing some random T-shirt with Transformers on it, and it's like a Decepticon and a silhouette of a robot, generic robot. And he's like, the guy's like, "Oh yeah, who's that on his shirt?" And the guy's like, "I don't know." And I was kind of like, "I think it's Macabre." And he's like, "That must be Japan." No. It's like, I only know G1. I am talking G1. So the guy kind of got like stumbled, and he's like, I once saw Fort Max. I got one of those. And I just kind of left the store. I was like, are you going to ring me up or what? And I kept running into this guy from that. Like I was at Toys R Us buying Smokescreen, the alternator. And he was like, what'd you get there? And I was like, oh, it's this dude. Because he keeps going, I'm kind of a fan. And he'd do like this and showed me this terrible tattoo.
I hate that.
It's like, hey, people with tattoos, no one cares. It's great you like it, but for the rest of us, we're like, oh, Metallica, cool. And he kept, doing this, and he'd be like, what'd you get? I got Smokescreen. I only like the G1 guys. This is a G1 guy. Well, and then he turned out this Roadhouse I kept going to with my mom to eat. He worked there, and I'd come walking by. What's on your hat, dude? Oh, what is on my hat? Oh, it's an Autobot symbol. What's that lettering? Oh, that's Transformers in Japan. Well, I really only know G1. That is the G1 spelling. So that guy, and then I had for a while people following me in traffic because my car had these Autobot stickers on it. And like this guy followed me for like a mile, and I was getting scared because this is Atlanta. Someone's following you, you're getting killed.
You're getting shot.
I was like, oh man. And he pulled me over, and I'll pull over to Quick Trip because I'm like, I'll just run in here and buy a soda. Maybe he'll go on. And he follows me, and like he stops like right in front of my car. Like as I'm getting out, I'm like, oh shit, big guy, but I can't punch through a bullet. And this guy, I'm like, did I flash my lights or something? Did I accidentally give a gang sign when I was picking my nose? What did I do? And he goes, hey, do you know that's a Transformer sticker on your car? Yes. I put it there. Where'd you get it? And normally I'd smart and be like, well, if you cared enough to do it, you'd already know by now.
Yeah.
And I was just like, go through one of those car shops that sells decals. They usually have them. I don't remember where I bought it, dude. You know, stuff like that. I've had, people think I work for Hasbro at stores, follow me. I think the weirdest, though, and most awkward is, you ever wear like a Transformer shirt because, hey, we're dorks, we occasionally wear them, and someone goes, hey, nice shirt, or I like your shirt, and, you're like, oh, thanks. And then they keep looking, and they're like, when I was a kid, I don't care. Keep talking. I remember one guy's like, I still have I still got the poster from the first movie on my wall. Okay. High five. Or, that's... I could keep going, but I think really the guy in traffic. Yeah, I think the guy who got people following me in traffic, or the guy when I was parked outside of a liquor store waiting for my coworker to go buy his daily 40. And I was sitting there, and these dudes walk up. Hey, man, is that Transformers? Yeah. You remember those? Oh, what are those?
Nice. Okay.
Burger King. Is that Transformers? Yeah. You know how I knew that? Because it's like 50 years old? I don't know. Because remember in the movie they wiped off the steering wheel and there it was? Ah, yeah.
Oh, God. So, awesome. Anybody else have anything? I've got one to share. I've been picking my brain listening to Rob this whole time. And mine is literally a quick hit. It never.
I'm anticipating I will have my first one sometime this spring when some.
You meet me, exactly.
Come and visit.
Exactly.
Nice.
For me, it happens every year at Botcon. Mistaking not just one person, but at least 2 or 3 people's genders when meeting them, and not being able to tell. This year was the worst year. I saw in the chat where John was saying that Botcon is getting less weird. I don't know about that.
maybe when it is weird, it's really weird now.
Maybe on a scale issue.
Yeah, I mean, there are no... Cape Thing's not been there in a while, unless Cape Thing lost a lot of weight, but...
and the Cape.
And
the Cape and picked up a baby stroller.
But there are some interesting there's some interesting characters that show up at Botcon still. So the worst instance of that happened this year. It was awful. So and especially the worst part, the thing that makes it awkward and uncomfortable is when you meet the person, and your brain plays that like loop-de-loop hula hoop. You're trying to figure out what should I say, what should I do. Then you just bust out laughing in front of them. And I think Rob was actually there when I did that.
We did that a few times, dude. Which one are you talking about?
Well, there was one specifically at the table this year that just blew my mind. I just started laughing at the person, and I had to pretend that I was laughing at something I was thinking about. And I am going to hell. So that's.
Oh yeah.
I am an awful human being. I am a terribly bad person.
I just recalled one about one of our winners, Chris.
Yeah.
He was, he had a car he had a little Autobot sticker on the back windshield, and he told me about this. He was driving to work going up 75 North, and he got pulled over by a cop, and he was like, I was speeding, so I thought I was about to get a speeding ticket. And the cop comes walking up, and I don't know how it is in the rest of the country, but in the South, the cop comes up, it's always the same, sunglasses.
Oh, we were together when that happened with me, Rob.
Yeah, you remember, exactly. And it could be a woman. It could be any person, and they all do this. So your license and registration. Now, they've already ran your tags, so they've already seen your registration and know you got a license, but they want to see it anyway. So you're like, yeah, here you go. And like, And so he's doing the whole, you know how fast you were going? And, Chris is like, 75? That's about traffic. And so Chris is sitting there like, thinking maybe he's just running his information, because they do that here quite often. They'll just pull you over to run your information. And he goes, you know what sticker that is on your car? And the guy's like, and Chris is just like, because you got caught there, all of a sudden, it's a Transformer. It's an Autobot symbol. And he goes, that's right. Where'd you get Chris is like, and he just names off some website. And the cop's like, and he walks off and gets in his car. And the cop wrote down the website that Chris bought the sticker at.
That's insane. I've heard that story before. That's awesome.
The other one that just came to mind. Remember when we all learned that trans fan meant something else to another group of people?
Yes.
Ooh.
You ever get that mix up occasionally?
Rarely, but it happens.
So you guys are big trans fans? Yeah. No, I know what took you for that. Huh? The hell? Then you're later. Oh. No. Not that anything's wrong with that. Man, I'm going to go to this Transformers Con. It's a new one. You guys see it? It's called Tranny World. It happens. I mean, we had the awards to trannies. You're voting on trannies.
Yeah, we don't have that anymore, Rob. That went away.
Yeah. Just because we all like stepped outside of our basement caves and go, oh, there's another group of people. Some of them in this fan base, and we're using their terms. We're sorry.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
We're really sorry. Golden Discords. Hey, Transformers fans. This.
Anybody have anything else to share before we jump to Twitter Theater?
There's no way I can top that.
No.
Yeah, we can't approach this.
No.
I just want to see John be like, one day I was mixing it up, drinking some margaritas, just throwing the diets, and this dude comes and goes, "Hey man, you like Transformers?" And I was like, "Yeah." Total lame.
And that man was Peter Cullen.
Awesome. Okay. Okay, that was great. Rob is so awesome. I love and miss having Rob on the show live each week, but we make do. We make do with recorded Rob. So this was a neat topic, and I actually wasn't on this episode of RSC. JD was hosting for me. It was from November 2011. And the topic was one that Ender picked out, actually, and it's the one that got away. Which toy did you not get that you still regret to this day? Or did you finally end up getting it and you pay like 10 prices for it? I wasn't on this, so I'll just share mine real quick, and it wasn't Transformers related. When I think it was the original Marvel Legends line came out, there was a yellow Daredevil. The normal Daredevil was red, and there was a Chase figure that was yellow. I saw it on the shelf. I thought, oh, that's cool. Pass. Then I saw in Toy Fair the next week that figure is going for $400. I went back, and of course it was gone. So that's the one toy that I can think of that I'll always remember missing out on. I'm still kicking myself for not catching that. So let's go back to November 2011, and listen to the guys talk about the one that got away.
This is the one that got away versus taken to the cleaners. So basically, the twofold kind of thing. One where if I'm understanding, one that you had and lost or didn't quite get,
right?
And then one that you got but didn't, like the flu. You got it, but you didn't want it,
right?
Yeah. So, examples.
I think my big ones that I have right now. There was I very publicly kvetched about the death of robot heroes, and very, very just before the announcement that they weren't going to be made on eBay, 2 or 3 rounds of unreleased ones went through, and I think there were literally like 3 primes in that lot. There was a Robots in Disguise prime that was going to come with the relative Megatron. There was a Beast Machines primal that was going to come with, I think, Jetstorm from Beast Machines, and there was, I know most people wouldn't count this as a prime, but Star Saber with Deathsaurus.
Yes.
And they looked awesome, and I love the Robot Heroes line. They all went for about $60 a pop for the pairs. Also, there was a Prowl and Laserbeak set that was going through. I think there was 2 or 3 of each of them. And at the time, I was looking at them and I was thinking, man, I am going to feel like such an idiot when I paid $60 for each of these, and they're going to be on shelves for $6 to $7 in 2-3 months. And I just couldn't be bothered to wait. And then came the announcement that these weren't going to be made. Mm-hmm. So that's, for a prime collector, for a section of primes he really likes, for a section of toys he really likes, to miss 3 of them, the collected money that seems like now, and what I'll end up paying if I ever do find them, seems so minuscule. It's just oh God, if I'd known those weren't going to come out, $60 would have seemed like nothing, because you're just never going to find those. There's so many, half of finding stuff as a prime collector is just paying. It's not so much what you have to pay; it's being able to find someone to pay it to.
Mm-hmm.
And those just like drive me up the wall when I sit there. And I think I sat there and like watched those auctions go by, thinking about that. I kind of thought of this topic though, because Peter actually was mentioning to me the other day about the Creo Botcon Prime. I took a bath on that. It came out of
you didn't take a bath with it. You took a bath with
it.
Yeah,
that's a whole different thing. That's a different show.
Sense.
Clear that up a little
That's
bit.
RFC After Hours.
Mutually exclusive. Could both be true.
None of my primes go in the bath. Certainly
Take a
not
video,
anything that has any
you get a
control
video
prime.
of Vendor taking a bath with his primes.
Now, the only Transformers I've ever had that actually got dunked underwater were somebody gave me a box of their spare Beast Wars toys once in life, and there was a depth charge and a rampage, and I already had some, so I put them in my fish tank to fight.
That's awesome.
But he didn't.
Awesome.
What he didn't tell you was this happened a couple days ago.
Right. And by fish tank, he means bathtub.
Right.
And there was like
My
this bottom fish we thought was dead. It took up to living in Rampage. So
By bathtub, you mean toilet bowl.
This 3-inch fish was coiled up inside Rampage.
Mm.
And
That was a big toy.
That's a whole different show.
Like 3 podcasts.
That is a whole other show.
No, but so I think I paid the week of Botcon, fearing exactly what had happened to me with these robot heroes. I coughed up, I think, $40 for the little Creo Prime with the Matrix thing. Now, normally I don't get a repaint, and that's something I was going to buy the regular Creo Prime anyway. But the Matrix sticking out, I thought it was kind of a cool thing, and I thought I'd never be able to find it. So I legitimately wanted it, and I thought, I'm not at Botcon, I'm not going to be able to get my hands on one, and then it'll be like $100 in a year when I decide I want it. Well, back in reality, I managed to actually early pre-order the Creo Prime that was supposed to come with the proper Prime with just a window chest. Yeah, it had the Botcon one in it. They all did. The first run all had the Botcon one.
Damn.
I managed to get it traded out for a regular one, so I didn't get extra hurt there. But it also struck me at Toys R Us last week that they just had the exact same little Botcon box on the shelf for like $7.
Oh.
So it was like, no matter how you cut it, I really ate it there.
Yeah.
That was a poor investment, and it sadly is one of a great many. When it comes to
Oh well, I mean, if you've been a collector any time, I mean. So, Peter, any stories of the like?
No, none that I can think of really.
Oh,
I
thanks
never
for
really.
joining.
What?
Yeah, I just never really hunted.
We'll
for,
see Peter on
I
your
can't say I hunted for toys a lot. It wasn't until actually it was never that I would just go to a store and be like, oh, this toy is cool, or hey, I saw this on my while writing about it on T-Formers or somebody else talking about it. But I never really avidly went for certain toys specifically.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple. Maybe there was an alternator that I never got, like a Trax or something like that. But I'm over it.
Some toy collectors therapy.
Peter's groovy. He doesn't. He's just like, whatever. I almost got this one thing, but it's whatever. Rob,
Where are we?
Peter's like, oh yeah, you guys are nuts. I remember now.
I can't really,
what am I doing
off
here?
the top of my head, think of anywhere where I seriously regret. I've managed to block those out, I think, pretty effectively. But I do have.
Thanks for joining, Rob.
all right, peace out.
But I do have one that got away. 1991 or so, Lionel Kitty City was closing.
Wait. I'm sorry. Kitty City?
Yeah.
Like kid. Not as
I didn't know that was a chain. I thought that was just like a local Philly thing.
No, they had them down here in Baltimore too, and they were closing.
My Aunt Irene ran that place.
They were closing. Everything in the store was marked down. They pulled crap out of the back rooms that had not seen the light of day in 10 years. Masters of the Universe accessory packs, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons model kits. Wow. And there on the shelf amongst all the other weirdness was a Fortress Maximus. Marked down.
No.
Oh, I can't believe I forgot that. Go ahead. Oh man.
I don't. It was not much, especially by the current standards of Fortress Maximus, but it was far, far out of my 12-year-old budget, and I couldn't get it.
Okay, I just gotta say, Fortress Maximus. I can't believe I didn't think of this on this topic. When it was just getting clearanced, like regular when it came out. I must have been 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
Toys R Us near me had a dozen of them up on a top shelf for like the better part of a year that they couldn't sell, even with the big Horkin display next to that. And they got down to $50.
Wow.
And my father and I went to Toys R Us for the specific purpose of buying a $50 Fortress Maximus. And we just had missed the last one. They sold like an hour before.
Oh, wow.
And I took it rather well. And I look back as an adult and think I should have cried like a baby.
I'm crying now.
I need new pants.
I know. I'm like...
It's just this line of them. In my head, there would be this line of them when we got there. And they'd have to go get some asshole to bring out a ladder and pull one down for us. And then I would have my $50 dream toy that was like as big as me.
Yeah.
But sorry, ran out this morning.
So, John, what do you got?
Well, I swear to God, this is true, but mine would have been Fortress Maximus, so I had a similar story. But I'm thinking more recently, the one that got away was a filthy, questionably legal add-on to Generations Superion. So the Fans Project armor, right, for Superion, came in 2 flavors. It came in the standard gray, and then the much more toy-accurate, animation-accurate white. And it was called the Snowman variation. You follow me? And there was maybe, I think it was like 200 made of the white ones, probably less, maybe like 100 made of the white ones. I did not know of the existence of these white ones till said white ones were on eBay, and there were, for about 2 weeks, there were always like 3, kind of just in constant rotation. But they cost like $200. I said to myself, that's ridiculous. I'm not going to pay that. I am not going to pay that. And then a couple weeks later, they went up to $300. Started going for $300. So I was like,
eBay is a harsh mistress.
Yes, it's a harsh mistress. So I started thinking, well, wait a minute. People are starting to pay more for these. What does that mean? What am I doing here? That's okay. I'll settle for the $70 gray one. It might be a little bit uglier. It doesn't really match anything, but it is what it is. So another week goes by, and then like psychology starts creeping in. I start looking at it, thinking, "Man, it does look a lot like the animation. It does look a lot like the toy. That is a lot better. Is that $300 better? Maybe." So then I go on eBay, and I'm all ready to bid on one of the 3 that are constantly there, and I can't find one.
No.
And so I keep looking, and I look every week for like 3 months. I'm not lying. And I've never seen one ever again. So I think those were like the last 3 on the open market in the history of ever.
Oh man,
it hurts, buddy.
Yeah,
it hurts.
Yeah,
and that's one of those. There are cases out there. That's one where literally you don't see stuff for sale like ever again. Kind of like Ender, what you're saying with
it's like
stuff.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, it's like
you don't get it when it comes out. I have stuff that I like bought prudently in that kind of time frame, and I have literally just never seen again.
Yeah,
and I look for stuff. It's like just crazy things.
Well,
or I'll see it and it's like, and that's $1,000 now, and it was like 100.
Right.
Well,
it was like 100 the last time you saw it.
Because the only other people looking for it are people as psychotic as you.
Yay. Well, I think for me, I mean, my thing of stuff that always got away, the thing that'll kick me is something that I had and then lost, which is basically my childhood collection. I kept it really nice, and I had a decent, collection of figures, all the way from 84 figures, up through like Pretenders and everything. It was great.
I have this mounting sense of dread in this story.
Yeah, because I did this thing where it's like, I'm a big kid now, and I threw it all in a box and sent it to Goodwill.
Oh.
All gone.
I didn't take good.
And you woke up the next day.
Well,
you wake up the next day and you said, "What have I done?"
No, it wasn't the next day.
Came online.
It was like when I was in college and realized that Transformers were cool, and then I was like, because I'm looking at eBay at the prices of things that I had, and I'm like, I had that, and it's now $50. Damn it, And so, I still wake up in a cold sweat every once in a while, where it's gone. It's all gone.
Spray, where are you?
Let's go ahead and jump to November 2010. This was a discussion about what sells you on a toy. Is it the character? Are you buying it because you love the character? Or are you buying it because you really like the look and feel and design of the toy? So I go either way. I really do. But, I think some people really have this sort of, mode in their head that they buy what they like. Do they want the character or do they want the design? So let's go back to November 2010 and hear what we had to say back then. Does the character or the look/design matter more in your choice to buy a toy? So, if there's a character you really like, does that more draw you to the toy or how the toy actually looks?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, definitely. What, Rob? Well, both equally.
He just loves the question. He loves the topic.
This is the best question we've ever done.
Yes. No, I mean, the character sells the toy. I mean, I'm a 32-year-old man. It's like, man, that's a really, really crappy...
That is a fact.
Crappy action figure of Jimmy Neutron. But you know what? I love the Jimmy Neutron, dude.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. Yeah, but, it's like a guy I don't know, a complete stranger of a character. It's like... Or like Drift. That's a wonderful toy.
It is. I agree. I got it for the same reason.
Wonderful toy, but it's like, I've tried to like them. I've wanted to.
You know what the really sad thing is? I like Drift more than I like Blur.
The toy? Yeah.
That's absolutely blasphemous.
Yeah. No, I just knock crap over trying to play with it.
GT Swindle.
Yeah, GT Swindle.
Well done.
Okay, so since that's the case, I'm just going to pull all this crap to actually G2 Sideswipe too as well. Hey, I'm G2 Sideswipe, look at me. But I got my little Koro Q Rodimus here.
Now we know what late evenings in Brian's room is like.
Oh boy.
I mean, I love G2 Sideswipe. What can I say? I'm weak for G2 Sideswipe. But I loves me some Rodimus Prime in all his forms. Ergo, Koro Q Rodimus Prime.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. It takes me back to what, 2002?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Man. I don't know. I think I tend to buy figures. And that's why I think it's not that I don't like the characters, don't get me wrong, but I'm usually more interested in the figure itself than I am the actual design or look. I mean, going back to the Drift example, I want that figure because I've heard the figure is good. I don't care about the character one way or the other.
Do you not have the figure?
I don't have it yet. Not yet. I have there. My wife has put an embargo on all toy purchases until after Christmas. So, yeah. So I can't buy anything for myself now. But
so if there's peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Right. But I mean, Dark Mount's a good example. I never got into the whole Dark Mount thing back in the day. I really honestly don't know or not don't care much about Straxus. Well, that's what I was getting to. That's what I'm saying. I don't know much about Straxus per se. I mean, other than the stuff I've read, I never got into the Straxus fan club thing. But I love the figure, and I bought it because.
What if they released a DevCon figure? There's a cult of DevCon too.
Not possible.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I mean. It's like it depends on what the figure would be. That's what I'm interested in. Is it a good figure?
sometimes we luck out and toys that we always want get like a great mold. For example, Big Daddy. Fantastic in every way. Best toy ever.
Yeah,
but that's when we luck. That's when we luck out. For me, it's character. I want to say it's the design, because things like Drift sort of do win me over. But darn it, I will buy the crap. I'm trying to think of it. I bought something really crappy recently because of the character.
Yeah, you bought G2 Swindle.
I did buy G2 Swindle. Just because of that. I love Swindle. I don't have the G2 Swindle. I'm going to build G2 Bruticus because I never did. So I bought G2 Swindle first, just to sort of look at it. So I loves me some Swindle. So there are lots of instances of that, I guess. Like a lot of G1 stuff, if I really like the character. For some reason, I really like Ratchet. I don't know why. So I just bought Ratchet.
Yeah.
After wanting it for years, nice. I bought it. I was able to get the reissue for like $20 shipped. So I'm like, why not?
That brings up a good question. If there's characters we collect.
Oh yeah.
I think most collectors have like a character.
Yeah.
That they kind of go out of their way for. So.
Well, for me, it's in G.I. Joe. It's Firefly. I have every version of Firefly. I think that's at this point. Nice. Transformers. Maybe Soundwave, but I don't actually own a Sound Blaster, so
yeah, that's about 3/4 of the cast for me, apparently.
Yeah, you have everything.
I like multiples, so it's like, and now I'll catch myself. Well, I like to get drifts. I always buy the jazz. I always get jazzes. I'm just making up excuses.
I'm relatively new in the fandom, so I haven't gotten to that point yet where I've I'm going to get every version of this character because I like this character. I haven't gotten there yet. But I have gotten a couple of figures, so.
You might not get there anyway. I don't think everybody really knows that.
Yeah.
That's more a thing when you're, what's the word I'm looking for? Insane?
Yeah, when you're really...
I'm insane for other things, though. Oh my gosh.
Well, you're not.
Everybody's insane for something.
You're not writing stories where they make sweet love to each other. So really, however you enjoy it's up to you. Yes,
rough love. How about that?
We've established that Amy is not involved in Slash. So well, it's just however you enjoy it. It's up to you.
You got to keep testing.
Well, it's a hobby. How do you enjoy it? It's up to you, and it's not really up to anybody else, except for slashing. Then really, people listen. Yeah. Just kind of you're being creepy.
So yeah.
As goes the original question, I'm not sure I'm strictly one way or the other about it. I know characters do inform on my purchases. Some, I've got 2 versions of the Universe Silverbolt mold, which I never would buy Silverbolt, but they did one as Darkwing and the other is G2 Skyjack, and I had to own both of them. Despite that it's, kind of crappy.
It's Skyfall, sir. It's not. I know Skyjack was awesome.
It's not Darkwing either.
What was it? What was it?
Darkwind.
Darkwind. That's right.
Darkwind.
Man, I love Skyjack, but I kind of like the name Skyfall better. I don't know why. Yeah. It's different.
Yeah.
Well, it's just one of those things. It's like, I got Revenge of the Fallen Hooligan. No, I've got Fear Swoop, but I can't look at him going Hooligan, Fear Swoop. It's like most of you guys. It's like, is that XV or Chris? Yeah, it's 2 names everyone's got apparently. Yeah.
For years I didn't have a clue what his name was.
Yeah. But it turns out it's Skyfall. Yeah. There you go.
That's Skyjack.
Who knew?
That's the reason he wants to go by. He likes Skyjack better.
Yeah. Or you get the really confusing ones like Beast Changer.
Yeah.
Or Botcon Scorch. No, it's Botcon Spark, but on the comic he's Botcon Scorch. Hey, this is Botcon Turbo Master. No, this is Scorch. That's where it gets more confusing than the stand-in names. It's whoa, no, really. This is just Autobot number 1, but in the show it's Optimus Prime.
Yeah, okay, so... I don't really have anything to add to that.
I think my head exploded right in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I got lost somewhere.
Third of the cast.
Who's that? I don't even know.
So
I think it's Cosmos.
Yeah, actually, exactly. Well, no, crap. Cosmos is right here. I loves me some Cosmos. I own both versions of Cosmos.
Nice.
This is stuffed mouse, but in the fiction, it's Chuck E. Cheese.
Yes, exactly.
Who do I have holding here? Stuffed mouse or Chuck E. Cheese? I own a product named Stuffed Mouse, but he's Chuck E. Cheese.
Awesome. That pretty much does it for the show this week. This, like I said, recorded Christmas Day, just me, but we'll be back next week. Not live. We're not going to do the live show again. I don't know that we can. The show is going to be so huge, I don't actually know that we could do a live show. But we will be back next week with episode 344, which will be our big, and I mean big, 2013 recap. Going back to something I said at the beginning of the show, if you can, please leave us feedback. Leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Zune, wherever you find this podcast. We would really appreciate it. It takes just a minute, and it means a lot to us. So that would be really awesome if you could. Follow us on Twitter at TF Radio, and on Facebook, join our Facebook fan page at facebook.com/TF Radio. For the other guys, I'm your host, Brian Kilby. We will be back next week.
This has been Radio Free Cybertron. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Watch our live stream at tfradio.net/live. Join our Facebook fan page at facebook.com/tfradio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, TF Radio Network. Have a question or comment? Leave it on our Facebook fan page or mail it to contact@tfradio.net. This podcast is released under a Creative Commons license. Any part of this podcast can and should be redistributed, but please, proper attribution is required if you know what's good for you.